When it comes to sex crimes, the University of Central Florida does not mince words. Victims come first. That might seem obvious, but some police departments have had a history of not taking sexual violence survivors seriously.
And the direction at UCF PD came from a detective hired to set the culture straight after he learned from his own mistakes. News 6's Eric Von Anken sits down with that detective to see how he's getting results together for that entire campus.
Clothing that's in there, the bed sheets.
Detective Rick Salcedo is called out to a sex crime scene here on the UCF campus only about 4 times a year. The low numbers, of course, are good, but at the same time, bad, because they should be much higher, he says.
They think they're not going to be believed, so they do not report these cases. So not as often as I'd like for them to report it.
Detective Salcedo was brought here to the UCF Police Department in 2016 by then Assistant Chief Carl Metzger to make sure that never happens here. Before that, in his quarter-century career at the Orlando Police Department, he learned how it did happen.
When people in the past, people didn't remember all the details of the case, or they couldn't tell us a story in chronological order, we ought to make believe that they're not being truthful to us.
As the crime scene detective in a 2007 rape case, Salcedo says he didn't believe the victim at first because she claimed she was forced to shower after the assault. But the shower wasn't wet. Turns out she was so traumatized she forgot to explain. She'd also been forced to dry the shower.
And what did you learn from that?
That we need to start by believing. But keep in mind, none of us received any type of training on how to respond to sexual assault cases.
So when you started, you were winging it.
We took an advanced course, but we didn't know anything about trauma-informed technique or any of that stuff.
Since then,
are we ready to make an arrest in this case?
Detective Salcedo has been teaching the advanced courses on sexual violence cases at 3 local police academies. He's being honored this year by the advocacy group IVAWI, End Violence Against Women International, as a champion of change, specifically for that 2007 case.
And does that match what we see on the computer here?
Yeah.
And he's been teaching the other detectives here at UCF PD, having them all sign a pledge that every time and in every case, they will start by believing the victim.
And I'm also teaching them the mistakes I made, because we always learn from our mistakes versus what we learn from what we did wrong rather than what we did right.
And UCF wants you to know that if you have been through something traumatic, Victim Services is just down the road from UCF PD. They'll take care of you 24 hours a day, and the first thing they'll tell you is how they do things here, that they always start by believing the victim first. Last year, 400 people went to Victim Services, but we're told only a fraction of those people ever ended up here reporting what they went through. At UCF, Eric Von Anken getting results. News 6.